Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a throwaway account in the advice subreddit. The post is titled, "I slept with my best friend's brother at her wedding. I feel terrible. I slept with my best friend's brother at her wedding. I feel so terrible and have no idea what to do." Bit of context, last year my fiance cheated then left me for another woman. I've been in a pretty dark place since. Shortly after this difficult time, my best friend announced that her boyfriend had proposed and she was getting married. She asked me to be her maid of honor. She's honestly the nicest person ever, and I was so happy for her. The wedding was yesterday, and I'd been spending a lot of time with her brother, who was also the best man. I've known her brother for years, but never really properly talked to him until recently. We were at the same New Year's party, he came to my family's barbecue, we've seen each other a lot at his sister's house planning the wedding stuff and chilling. He also helped me move out of my old house. He is really good looking, and we seem to get on really well. At the reception, after a few drinks, people started dancing. He asked me to dance and I said sure. We danced a bit, talked, and then things got heated. He invited me back to his hotel room and we had sex. I was a bit tipsy, but not drunk. Although I had a really good time with him, I feel so horrible and feel as if I betrayed my best friend on the biggest day of her life. To my knowledge, no one knows this happened. I spoke with him this morning and said not to mention anything to anyone and let me think. He was really understanding and says he likes me and that we should tell his sister because he wants to start a relationship with me. I like him too, but I just know his sister is going to hate me, and she's been such a good friend through a difficult time in my life. I also don't want to ruin their relationship because they are a really close family. To make things worse, about 2 to 3 years ago, another one of our friends mentioned that she thought her brother was hot, and she made a big thing about how it would be weird if one of her friends dated her brother. I've been sitting in my room since I got home, crying my eyes out, not knowing what to do. Please give me some advice. Edit. Thank you so much to everyone who has given me advice. It has made me feel 100% better. I spoke with her brother this morning and we are going to slow things down a little and see how it goes for the next 2 weeks while she is on her honeymoon, which he is really happy about. Then once she returns, I am going to speak with her and discuss what happened and that it's not just a fling, and I think I do have feelings. Thank you all so much. I think that the OP is overreacting here. While I think the two should maybe just sit on the situation a bit, it's far from an issue in my opinion. If this was just a one-night stand type of incident, then the two should just leave it at that. But obviously, if they wanted to pursue a serious long-term relationship, they're going to have to tell their mutual friends that they hit it off at the wedding. Again, I really don't think this is that big of a problem. User Zealous said, "You are both adults and you did nothing wrong. Enjoy it as a nice memory and move on. It is no one else's business. You are being far too hard on yourself." User Vivid Individual said, "People hook up at weddings. I don't think this is as big a deal as you think. If you want to go on a couple of dates to see if you're interested, do that before you tell your friend. If it works out, you will have your best friend as your family. That's a special gift. I had a wonderful sister-in-law who became my best friend. I miss her terribly." User Hendy Yo Boy said, "I hate how people say that a consenting adult cannot have a relationship with another consenting adult from their family. I don't give a shit if my male best friend does anything with my sister as long as they're both consenting adults. That's their business. I have no right to say anything about it and neither does she. If you two really do like each other and want to pursue a relationship, there is nothing wrong with it." This next post was made in the AITAH subreddit by a user named Miss Black Cat. The post is titled AITA for going NC with my mom and destroying my brother's perfect family. Long story, I will try to boil it down. I am 46 and my brother is 35. My brother is the golden child and has been ever since he was born. My mother was never the same towards me. I have never held that against him as he didn't choose this role, and I know he feels guilty, even though it's not his fault. And I tell him that. I practically raised my brother from the age of 6 months old to 5 years old when I moved out. I was 11 years old when I started taking care of him. Changing diapers, feeding him, bathing him, and putting him to sleep. I used to take him with me to visit and play with my friends. I loved him like he was my own son and still consider him my first child. My mom has periodically been verbally abusive towards me since I was 11 years old, screaming at me, calling me ungrateful, spoiled, and untrustworthy, although I have never been any of that. When she wasn't being abusive, she was either a loving mom or distant and neglectful. This has obviously messed with my head as I love the loving mom, but the other side of her has been hurting me for 35 years. She has only said sorry once, and it was said in a mocking, childish way. Sorry, okay, sorry. My mom is also incredibly manipulative. I have tried to forgive her and given her a second chance over and over for 35 years. And for 35 years, I have suffered the abuse 2 to 3 times a year, and a lot more often when I was a teenager. I have suffered through all of this for my brother's sake. I didn't want to leave him behind with only my mom as family. Our dad died when my brother was 14. He was verbally abusive too. After my mom's last attack, I was done. I have a chronic pain condition that is affected by stress, and it's getting worse with every attack. Not to mention my mental health is suffering. I cut contact with my mom in February, and my brother has been trying to get me to forgive my mom and let her back in my life ever since. I can't take the abusive mom anymore, but I am also grieving the loving mom I'm losing too. My brother kept guilt tripping me, and I finally lost it. I screamed at him, "Do you have any idea what dark places mom makes me go to? That last time she attacked me, I didn't want to be here anymore." I was desperately trying to make him understand. He hung up on me. I wrote him a very long message explaining everything I have gone through and that he needed to respect my decision and my boundaries. The next Monday, I got a phone call from my doctor. She needed to do a welfare check on me as my mom had called her with concern for my well-being. I wrote to my brother, "I ask you to respect my boundaries and you contact my doctor. Wow." His answer, "You are sick and need help. I will talk to you when you are better." I am devastated and unbelievably hurt, and I haven't responded. It has now been more than 2 months with no communication. I realize that he is being manipulated by my mom, but I am still incredibly hurt. My brother and I have always been very close, and this is killing me, and this is making me second guess everything. So, Reddit, am I the asshole? User Puzzleheaded Rip said, "NTA, go no contact with them both. Your brother is not your son, even though your mom made you raise him as a young child. Those lines are blurred for you, but it seems like for your mental health, you are better off with neither of them in your life." User Forward Plenty said, "NTA, that is the dynamic of the golden child. He has to take up his mother's cause over his own or yours. You think of it as her manipulating him to call your doctor, but it was his choice to choose what your mother said over you because he has been conditioned to do that for his whole life. So I call this the trash taking itself out. He made the decision to cut you out of his life because you cut your mother out of your life. He can't risk losing golden child status by supporting you. It hurts for sure, but you have the opportunity to work on your mental health without your mother's awful influence and your brother's insidious support of his mother against you, whether you have realized it or not. Update. First, a little extra information as this is relevant. My brother lives in another country and visits twice a year, in summer and at Christmas. I have hosted Christmas for the last 20 or so years, and he has spent nearly every Christmas with me, something I always look forward to. He sleeps at our mom's house as she has a guest bedroom, but spends hours at my place every day he's here. We celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve in my country. My mom lives 5 minutes away by foot, so very close to my house. Now, for the update, I learned that my brother came to town on December 16th from my oldest daughter. I didn't hear anything from him. I was miserable. My boyfriend saw me get more and more sad and depressed as the days went by up to Christmas Eve. The thought of him leaving the country again without me seeing him was ripping my heart apart, and my boyfriend knew that. He is himself a younger brother with an older sister, and he told me that my brother was undoubtedly too scared to reach out to me. Big sisters are scary when they're mad. After a lot of persuasion, he got me to reach out to him. He suggested I message him. "Wanna talk?" I couldn't get myself to do that, so I sent him a gif of a woman opening her door, smiling with a big welcome sign by the door instead. And then I waited nothing, no reply. Christmas Eve comes and I am in no mood to celebrate, but I have to get it together for the kids' sake. I go take a shower and hear the ping from my phone. It's a message from my brother. "Can I come give you a hug? I'm sorry I hurt you. I was afraid I had damaged our relationship forever." I felt like sobbing with relief. I told him, "Of course you can." He came over after dinner and we talked. There were tears from both of us, especially from him. It was plain to see that this had taken its toll on him too. He was genuinely sorry and told me it was our mother who had contacted my doctor, not him. I already knew that. He said he had accepted that my mom and I were better off being apart and that the relationship couldn't be saved. This was everything I had hoped for. We spent the rest of his trip connecting again, talked, and played board games like we always do. This was my Christmas miracle. I got my baby brother back. He flew back home today. This final post was made in the same subreddit by a user named Away Jaguar. The post is titled AITA for cutting off my parents because they plan on leaving almost everything to my disabled brother. My brother is a failure to launch. He's never been very smart. He did badly in school and never went to college. He tried 2 different trade schools, welding and mechanic, but he basically flunked out of both. He works at a gas station now. My brother and I are our parents' only children. They always treated us relatively equally until adulthood. They always insisted we earn our own way. They refused to pay for college or anything. I joined the military at 17, got an associate's degree while I was in, and my GI Bill went towards my bachelor's. I'm working towards my master's now. My husband and I have bought a house and have done well for ourselves. My parents, however, fully paid for my brother to try trade school twice. They've given him cash when he was behind on rent and countless loans. They support him cosplaying as an adult. Meanwhile, they never paid for my wedding, education, nothing. I don't really care so much that they didn't give me money, but the disparity in how they've treated me versus my brother. Our parents are in their 60s now, and while they aren't that old, they're both in bad health and probably won't live another 10 years. They just recently started working on their will and notified us that they were leaving almost everything to my brother, but they want me to be their medical power of attorney, manage their estate, etc. I told my parents to give my brother everything and that I'm completely done with them. They told me to have some grace and understand the fact that he isn't very capable and needs their support, even after they're gone. My mother had a doctor's appointment this morning and asked me for a ride since she medically can't drive. I told her to ask her favorite child or pay for an Uber. Things have been tense and hostile. My brother called me to apologize and asked me not to be mad at him, but I told him that I'm not mad at him. I'm mad at our parents for not treating us equally, and he didn't do anything wrong. Am I the asshole? I meant to put disabled in quotation marks. My mother refers to my brother as disabled even though he isn't. She's had him tested for every kind of learning disability there is. He just has a below average IQ. She thinks that counts as a disability when it isn't. User Luck B Lady said, if he is that unintelligent, he might need to be in a conservatorship, or he will end up in trouble inheriting anything at all, like you or an appointed person could control his finances and all. User Snowfleece said, sounds like he actually is functionally disabled. Not all disabilities are obvious. I have some siblings like this. Well, one actually has a genius IQ, but he's a savant and functionally useless. My parents want me to help manage things for them when they are gone. I don't want to. I don't care about the money, but I don't want to manage my siblings either. There are different trusts your parents can set up, and they can name a third-party professional trustee. If they do expect you to manage it, and you even wanted to, then you would need to be compensated for that. But if you don't, then tell them to work out a trust and a plan with a lawyer and leave you out of it. User Not a Cranky Panda said, he does not sound disabled to me if he went to 2 different trade schools, welding and mechanic. He just sounds lazy. Odds are, if he gets the money, it won't last him long, and then he'll be looking to you to pay his bills. To this, OP said, he's not disabled, but he's very unintelligent and has poor critical thinking skills. He doesn't really understand how to manage money at all, despite having been taught how. Update. Hey, so the consensus on my post was a bit of a mixed bag. I sat down with my parents and I wanted to give an update and answer some stuff. My brother is not actually disabled, he just has a low IQ just over 80. You need an IQ under 70 where I live to be considered disabled and to qualify for any sort of benefits. My parents have babied him because from a young age, he wasn't as smart as other kids and had a low self-esteem because of that, and was quick to give up on things when they seemed too hard. He does okay on his own now, he works and pays his bills most of the time. He drives and lives with a roommate. Onto the update, I sat down with my parents and explained that I've always felt like they treated me worse than my brother. They always emphasized to me that as an adult, you need to support yourself and figure things out on your own. I had to join the military at 17 because I knew they'd kick me out when I was 18. My parents never offered me any support outside of raising me as a child. They didn't buy my husband and I a wedding gift. They didn't offer much of anything. Meanwhile, they brag about having over $1 million in the bank and having succeeded from nothing. Meanwhile, they paid to put my brother through 2 trade schools that he failed out of, offered him money to start his own business. They've always bailed him out when he was short on rent. For me, it's not so much about the money, but about the disparity in how we've been treated. It's obvious that they loved and cared for him more because they were willing to do these things for him and not me. But despite them not being there for me, I've still done really well in life. I told my parents about all of this and they were interrupting me and talking over me the whole time. They told me I'm not entitled to a dime when they die and that I'm an adult and I can handle myself. They just weren't understanding or even caring about my point. They told me I need to step up and treat them better and that it's wrong of me to not take my sick mother to the doctor or take care of her because of money. Eventually, I just gave up on trying to talk about my feelings. They just don't care. I told them that they're adults and they're not entitled to anything from me. Just like how they were never required to help me, I'm not required to help them. I told them to completely remove me from their will. I'm not willing to be their estate executor, medical power of attorney, nothing. I don't want a dime from them at this point, and I suggested they spend all the money they've saved over the years to pay for really good nursing homes and an estate executor because I'm no longer willing to do anything for them. My mother was floored and asked if I'd really put my own parents in a nursing home. I asked if they'd really let their 17-year-old daughter join the army to get sexually harassed by older men in order to go to school without taking on a huge debt. My parents cried and yelled at me, and I left. And that's that, I guess. I kind of feel relieved, like a massive weight is off my shoulders. I have a wonderful husband. We own a nice home. I'm getting ready to start working on my master's degree, and we're thinking about maybe having a baby soon. I no longer have to worry about dealing with my parents. They're adults and they can deal with their own problems just like I've done with mine. And yeah, that's it. Not sure if it's the update we wanted, but it is what it is. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.